Yo, what's going on, everybody? Back again with another video today, and I'm in the car driving to go pick something up from the store. I think I'm gonna head to Target. They probably have what I want, but that is not what's important about this video. I figured while I was in the car it would be a good time to talk a little bit about a question that I got in one of my most recent videos, and I thought the question was really interesting and something I wanted to talk about and answer for the person who asked it and anybody else who's also thinking the same thing. And the question was pretty much asking, how do you get, or the way he worded it, I think, was like, how do you get work doing video? And so it's kind of really broadly worded and a little bit difficult to answer a question that's that broad. But I'll kind of focus it a little bit more. I'm assuming he meant like, how do you get work doing specifically like what I do, which is pretty much, I guess, video, right? But I do like videography and cinematography. Sometimes I'm just a camera operator or an assistant camera or something like that. And I think answering this question can even be directed towards anybody who wants to work pretty much as a freelance filmmaker in the film industry. Really quick for background more on what I do professionally. A Red owner-operator, which most of you probably know by seeing my other videos, and I do a mix of stuff actually in the industry, well, what I consider actually in the industry. Most recently, I just worked on my second season of a reality television show, which is going to be on Amazon Instant Video, and I recently shot a feature documentary film, which is hopefully either going to be on Amazon or Netflix or both. My producers are working on distribution right now. That's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about that. And I've done a mix of stuff for like the History Channel and the Discovery Channel. And then the other half of my work that I do is a lot of indie stuff, a lot of indie music videos and low budget commercials for local businesses and stuff. So that's like where I do most of my work. And so what I think is really interesting about the question that this person on YouTube asked is that, well, is really the answer. And the answer is a lot less cut and dry, or a lot less general than you think it would be. There is not one specific answer that anybody could give you on how to get work in this industry. And I know it's not the answer that you guys want to hear, but it's the only answer that I can truthfully give. And it's not like bullshitting you guys or beating around the bush or anything like that. It's legitimately how the industry works. The film industry is a very social industry. I like to relate it to, literally I like to relate getting work to dating someone, being in a relationship, or like asking somebody out on a date or something. Let me just say it like this. 99% of the gigs that I get are through my network. They are not through like applications that I submit online. There are a lot of resources out there that are used for freelance filmmakers or freelancers in general to find gigs to apply to them. I do that a lot. It's not that I don't do that. I apply to dozens of gigs a week on sites like that. The thing is this is such a competitive industry, and there are so many people applying for those gigs and undercutting you on rates that it's really, really, really hard to solely just have your income from gigs like that, and to get enough gigs like that. To give you an idea, I probably get one response from every, I don't know, 50 or 100 gigs that I apply to, and that's just a response, a response of somebody saying like, I saw your work, I saw your application, I'm interested in working with you, you had a good application, blah, blah, blah. But out of those gigs where people actually respond, I maybe get like one of every 5 or one of every 10 of people who actually respond back at all, which means like the ratio of gigs that you apply to gigs that you actually get is so small and minute, and you spend so much time applying to these gigs and not getting them. And that's just the name of the game. That's how it is for everybody. I recently spoke to a friend of mine who's a cinematographer in Los Angeles who, has shot stuff for, Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber and all these, famous actors, and has an amazing reel and an amazing portfolio. And he still has a really low ratio of gigs that he gets versus the number that he applies to. That's just the name of the game. It's super, super competitive. And like I said, there's always somebody who's going to be undercutting you on a rate, and 50 or 100 people who have applied to something within like 2 hours of the gig being posted on whatever site, whatever job search site it is. It's literally unreal. The amount of competition that you have that you're going up against every single day. Which is fine, like I said, because that's not actually how the industry works. That's not actually how the majority of people in this industry get gigs. The way you get gigs is through your network, through the people that you know. And so that's why it's a really vague answer to give you on like, how do I get most of my work? And if you ask anybody this question, a lot of people will give you answers like, I don't know, I just got lucky, or stuff like that, or I don't know, I just knew this guy who offered me this gig or told me about this opportunity, and that's really what it is. And so it's not stuff that you can really, it's not just a cut and dry thing, like being a freelance cinematographer is a much different career than being a doctor or a lawyer or like a financial advisor or a banker or who knows what, right? Those people, it's a very cut and dry way that you get that job. You go to school, you get certain degrees, you take certain tests that you have to pass, and then you start off in like an entry-level job, and then you work your way up through the ranks, and that's the only way to do it. And eventually you get a promotion, and then you get the dream job that you want at the dream firm or the dream company, and that's how you get the job. And then you're set, and you're done job searching. Every day you work a 9 to 5 and you go into the office, and that's it. This industry doesn't have that. Well, the freelance side of this industry doesn't have that. There are like producers and people who it is a little bit more cut and dry, because you're just applying to companies and then you're getting a job at a single company and working your way up through the ranks of that company. But other than that, it's not how it works. So I want to tell you guys some stories about how I got some gigs to show you how it's all about who you know and your network. And then I'll tell you about some tips on how you can meet people and build your network and develop that. So for instance, I was talking about a reality show that I recently got like a videography gig on. I worked 2 seasons with this show, and it's been a nice little portfolio piece. The way that I got that gig was through a friend who got that gig, and he got an opportunity to recommend another videographer because they were looking for more videographers, like multiple videographers for the show. And he recommended me because we are best friends all through film school, roommates, and he knew that I did good work. So through a recommendation was how I even heard about the gig, and then I applied, and the combination of my application and the recommendation of somebody else who worked on the show was how I got that gig. Another example is the feature documentary film that I just got, that's in distribution right now. The way that I got that gig was through a seed that I planted 4 years ago, or 5 years ago at this point, with an editing internship that I did back when I didn't know that I wanted to be specifically in cinematography. I wasn't sure. I enjoyed editing. I wasn't sure. So I did an editing internship with this guy in Florida who I did a lot of really, really great work for him, and he became a really close friend. I became friends with him on Facebook, and I was a huge fan of the content that he was producing, and I reached out to him and got this internship. Editing for free, so it wasn't like a paid internship or anything. I was just a really big fan of the content, and I really enjoyed editing, and I wanted that portfolio piece, and I wanted to make those connections. So that's what I did. And so I did a lot of great work for him, became really good friends with him after I stopped doing the work for him, and we just stayed really good friends. And years later, after he saw that I graduated film school and I was having a lot of early success as a cinematographer, I was the first person he thought of when he had this opportunity to make this feature documentary film, and he reached out to me, and then I got that gig. It was a seed that I planted 4 years ago in a different field, editing, that turned into a cinematography feature film gig 4 or 5 years later. That's how it works in this industry. That's why it's so difficult to pinpoint. How did I get that job? I don't know. I planted the seed 4 years ago, and I don't know how it happened. Maybe I got lucky. I don't know. So, all right, I'm pulling into the store right now. I'm gonna go purchase the things that I need to purchase, and then So I'll pause the video, and then when I'm back in the car, I will talk to you guys a little bit more about that concept of luck, and then a little bit of advice on how you can build your network. Alrighty. Now we back up and try not to hit anybody. Always the struggle of parking lots. Alright, so I'm back from the store. Got what I needed. I got a label maker and some colorful duct tape that I can use to organize some of my bags and my Pelican cases and whatnot for my gear. Okay, so what were we talking about before? We were talking about luck. How do you make your own luck? Well, I'm actually going to tell you guys a secret on how you actually can do that. There was a mentor that I had who had a really amazing, saying, and he said that you can make your own luck. Luck does not actually exist, because all luck is a combination of preparation and opportunity. When you put in the right work, the right preparation, and you keep your sights open for different opportunities, and you take those opportunities when you find them, that's how you make luck. So then the other question you might be asking yourself is, well, how do I, if the network is so important and the friends that you make are so important, how do I make those connections? How do I make those friendships? And how do I turn that into getting gigs? How do you do that? How? Because that's such a vague answer. How do you actually go about doing that? Well, for me, it started out as going to film school and making a bunch of friends in film school. And that's actually, really, film school is much, much more about the friends that you're going to be making and a lot less about the stuff that you're going to be learning. Because most of the education, the film school education, you can actually get online nowadays. And you can just get by actually getting experience by being on film sets and whatnot. So, let's see, do I take a right here or do I keep going straight? I think I keep going straight. Yeah, keep going straight. So yeah, if you can't go to film school, then do your best to still meet people and find networking events and be willing to offer your services for free for a while. Because at the end of the day, this is going to sound really, really harsh, but at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit about you or about the work that you've done. Even if you've done some really impressive projects that have been in the industry, still nobody gives a shit. They would much rather hire their friend who has no experience versus the person they met online who has some experience or a lot of experience. So much, much more important is to make friends with people and to network than it is to just worry about your portfolio and apply online to gigs with companies or people that you've never met before. That's not to say it's not important to do work and always be working, because when you make friends and then you have a good social media presence and you're showing them that you're always working and you're always staying busy, then that's benefiting the network that you have and the friends that you've already made, because they're seeing you're really busy and they're like, oh, I forgot he existed, but now I remember, and I should consider him next time I need to hire a videographer or a cinematographer or whatever. So yeah, it's all about, and that part of that is the preparation side of preparation and then opportunity and using that to make luck for yourself. So in any way that you can, you've got to always be preparing, and part of preparation is constantly being busy, even if it means you're working on a gig for free, because nobody knows that you're doing that gig for free but you, right? And also constantly making friends, going to networking events, and doing whatever you can to try to then find opportunities and then take those opportunities for yourself. So yeah. I'm sorry that it's not the answer that people want to hear. It's not something that's easy, and a lot of the time it's like, where do I even begin? But just start somewhere. Start your whole preparation process, whatever that means for you. Constantly stay busy and constantly try to stay productive, because you're gonna have months that are bad. You're going to have months where you're not finding a lot of work and you're not making a lot of money, and you're questioning whether or not this thing is sustainable and the validity of yourself as a videographer or a camera person or anybody in the film industry. And those months are going to be hard, and you're just going to have to kind of struggle and grind through that for the months that are good. Because when it's good, when you're working and doing what you love, and making money doing it and finding success, that's what makes the bad times worth it. And that's what makes it all worth it, because when you do what you love and you find a way to make money doing that, you'll never work a day in your life. So, yeah, I'm pulling in back to my house, and I'm done shopping, so the drive is over, which means the conversation is over. If you guys have any more questions, put them in the comments, and hopefully I can answer them. And I hope this video was a little bit beneficial to you. And that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys later.